Instructions for accessing subtitles in a language other than English are included on our board meetings webpage as well as in the description below. Instrucciones para acceder a los subtítulos en un idioma que no sea el inglés se incluyen en nuestra página web de reuniones de la Junta, así como en la descripción a continuación.
All right, good evening. It is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. This is the Ross Valley School Board Trustees special meeting. We are meeting in our district offices here at 100 Shaw Drive in San Anselmo. And it is 6:09 and I'm calling the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is a closed session. Our topics of discussion tonight are public employee evaluation for the superintendent and conference with real property negotiators regarding 199 Porteous Avenue. There is no public here, so there is no public comment. And then we will recess to closed session now at 6:09.
All right, welcome back into open session. It's Wednesday, May 24th, and this is the Ross Valley School Board of Trustees special meeting. It is 7:08, and reconvening back into open session. We are all here. Ryan is the only trustee. Just wanting anybody who's listening, we are missing one trustee, Ryan, but the rest of us are here. So we'll move into our procedural items.
Report out.
No, we report out later.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
So we'll do the procedural items and report out later. So moving into our procedural items, being the Pledge of Allegiance and the adoption of the agenda. Given that this is a special meeting, I don't have any long reflections on the mission, moment, and democracy other than maybe just taking a moment to sit in some appreciation and gratitude for whatever you want to feel grateful or appreciative of before saying the Pledge of Allegiance. That helps you bring a sense of meaning into our moment of mission, focus on why we're here for the kids, and coming together as a public civic group to do what's good for everyone. So join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance with that in mind.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, adoption of the agenda. Anyone have any amendments or changes to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, you made a motion.
Motion and a second. Rachel.
Aye.
Chris. Aye. Daniel.
Aye.
Shelley. Aye. All right. So we have our agenda. Now's the report out from the closed session. There's nothing to report out from the closed session, but we are going to need to continue it afterwards. So, but no action was taken, and we have our placeholder there for communication and correspondence to the board. And now we can move into the presentation and action items, of which we have 5. Because this is a special meeting, we are, at our special meetings, we take public comment at the beginning of all of the public open session items. So this would be the time then for anyone who wants to speak to any of those items in our presentation and action items to come forward. 3 minutes to share with us what you would like to share with us about any of those 5 items. So I've got 2, 3. Give you all a moment if anyone else wants to say anything. Okay. So I'll go with glasses on again.
Alex Obenstein.
Alex Obenstein. And just let us know your name, how you're affiliated, and which item you are speaking to us on. And Rachel, you help with the timing?
Yeah.
So again, it's going to ring in 2.5 minutes. And
Sweet.
thank you.
Alex Hovenstein, or Mr. Oak from Whitehill Middle School, 7th grade science, speaking to item number 2, the approval of the tentative agreement between the Ross Valley School District Board of Trustees and the Ross Valley Teachers Association. Don't really have anything prepared this time, but I did just want to say thank you to the board for listening to our teachers. I know it's not easy to sit up here and hear those stories and the things that your teachers are dealing with, and it's not easy to be dealing with those things either. But we appreciate that you guys listened and, prioritize your teachers. And I think that if the kids are truly at the heart of what we do, then we need to be supporting those that are supporting them each and every day. So again, I really just wanted to get up here and quickly express gratitude to you guys for putting in the work and listening and, keeping us at the front of your thoughts these last few months. And I look forward to continuing this process and, continuing to have you guys support. And, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Pete Santucci, come on down.
Hello again. I'm Pete Santucci, music teacher for Ross Valley School District Elementary Schools and father of a 7th grader at Whitehill. And also just wanted to echo Alex's comments and just say, this process is difficult and it's not easy, it's not quick, and it's taken many years for the teachers' salaries in this district to kind of fall behind some of the other districts. And, I think we know that it may take several years of negotiating work to get those salaries to continue to, keep pace with the Marin County average, maybe surpass the Marin County average. I was worried, as I expressed many times, that I thought we were going to lose so many teachers this year if the administration and the school board didn't really make extraordinary efforts to show teachers how much they were appreciated. And I really felt, from what I heard about the process, that the administration and the school board really, really showed that they were doing everything they could this year to try to raise the salaries as much as they could within the budget that you guys have to, deal with. And that meant a lot. And, I've talked to a lot of teachers who are still kind of angry about it, and they wish that teachers could get paid more, and I think we all wish teachers could get paid more. And I said to them, I agree, of course, but also the budget in this district is tough. And I really felt from all of you that real strides, real effort was being put into doing everything that you could to try to get the salaries up. We hope that it will continue, and I hope that we can keep all these great teachers because, I like being here, and I know I love having these teachers teach my son. So it just feels good to have this worked out for this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And William Jameson.
Good evening, William Jameson. I am a Spanish teacher at Whitehill Middle School. I am also speaking to item, they all look like they're item 2 perhaps. Looks like 2 through 5, if y'all could figure that out. I am also here to echo the gratitude. I am particularly grateful to the 9% and then some for the other health benefits and whatnot. That part I am, of course, very grateful for. That is a tangible number. I also wanted to iterate the other piece that I was perhaps most grateful for in a peculiar way. And before I get to that, I also want to preface this with, I am saying this as a young teacher with no family commitments, no health issues. So perhaps from that point, when you're looking as someone who's finding more reasons to stay, it was the work I saw perhaps 2 months ago during the other special session meeting, and after the long presentation that was very informational about where the money's going, the insight into the limited ways in which we could raise revenue. After all of that, I then saw the magic of many of you starting to frame the conversation around, so then how do we get money for our teachers? That was the most impressive thing to see, because I couldn't bear witness to the negotiations or the closed session meetings where perhaps the most candor is brought about. So I could see that moment, and to see that be the start of a renewed commitment to doing everything that is within your power to make us feel at home here in a professional setting. That felt the most impactful out of all of this. And again, I want to say again, I do not have the commitment to put food on the table for people that I am in charge of. I do not have health issues that my healthcare cannot take care of. So I'm sure those people might be some of the few that another one of my colleagues referenced that are still frustrated with where they are positioned. But the extra 1 point whatever % on top of the original offer isn't really what gave me hope. But actually seeing that you guys were really trying, or at least to begin to really try, is what gave me some hope. And in the next years to come, the follow through for some of that, or the working with us and the parents to make this community really thrive, is what's going to help many of us be able to stay. So thank you. I can't wait to see more of it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all for being here and for those comments. And so now we can move into the presentation action items with the recommended approval of the 2022-23 tentative agreement between the Ross Valley School District Board of Trustees and the Ross Valley Teachers Association.
Alrighty, so with the Ross Valley Teachers Association, 4 articles were open. So this is a closed contract, meaning that not all of the articles were open for negotiations. And how we have written into our collective bargaining agreement is salary and health and welfare every year. And then 2 articles of each party's choice. And so we have, as you see here, the articles of wages and health and welfare benefits, and then the additional articles of hours of employment and class size. So on May 9th, after a couple of months of negotiations, we were really thrilled to be able to settle negotiations for this current school year. So the tentative agreement is attached, which I know that you all have reviewed. And so that provides an overview of everything that we reached agreement on. And then what we did in the background here is that we also provided kind of a breakdown on the salary, the compensation, and the health and welfare components, because we also know that within the other items on the agenda this evening, there's some other employees who are unrepresented or non-represented. We only have 2 groups in our district that are represented, and that's the Ross Valley Teachers Association and our classified California School Employees Association. So all the other employees are unrepresented. So the total compensation package of those articles of wages and health and welfare benefits equates to 10.44 of a total compensation package. And then we broke down the percentages here as to how it is for the teachers, how we reached agreement. So another aspect of whenever a district reaches a tentative agreement or concludes salary conversations, if you will, with any represented or unrepresented group. The business manager must file what's called an AB 1200 form, and basically it's a statement that describes to the County Office of Education the breakdown of the dollars that are included in any agreement and how the district is looking out in the out years in terms of offering that. So we don't need Marin County Office of Ed's approval on it, we just needed to submit it. And in Marin County, they like to have a 10-day lead time before the board takes action. So as soon as we learned that the teachers had ratified, Chris got to work finalizing that AB 1200 and getting it to MCOE. And so that also is attached here, as well as the revised salary schedule. So there are two kinds of salary schedules for the teachers, and one is for what we refer to as the teaching unit members and the non-teaching unit members. That's salary schedule number 1, and then a separate salary schedule for our school psychologists. And so the enhancements on the salary schedule are noted on those respective salary schedules. Where you'll see some of the items that were agreed to, such as the increase to the hourly rate up to the $50 an hour. That's one example. You won't find that on a salary schedule per se. It's listed there, but you find it in the collective bargaining agreement. So once this year ends and I can get to work on updating that collective bargaining agreement, then we'll see the $37.60 that sits in the collective bargaining agreement replaced with $50. And so on, and all the language changes. So then that will, because it's not a full contract, the revised contract will go up on the website. In a year in which the entire contract has been renegotiated, then we do provide paper copies to every employee. Any employee who asks for a paper copy will of course get one, but to save money and not to have the paper cost, it is posted to the website, but we do provide the copies as asked for. So I think with that, if we can all celebrate this evening of having, and hopefully you all were intimately involved in conversations around salary and negotiations. So I can't imagine that this won't be something that you don't approve, but it does require board action.
Great. Are there any clarification questions on what's being presented? I know we've had conversations, but anything on the way that it was presented or anything? No, I appreciate having that table there that itemizes them all out down to the total, so that's helpful. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty clear with the breakdowns.
Well,
I am very, very happy to see that, we were able to get it this far, because I know it took some work from Chris and from Mercy to pull those numbers up higher, because we were pushing, but also you guys had to find the numbers, so thank you. But I think, I'm really just happy to see these numbers as high as they are, given how I know our budget and what we need to do to get those numbers up next year with. So I really appreciate all the administration work, and I'm actually thankful to hear all the stories that we heard.
Yeah.
I think I know a lot of our teaching staff, but I feel like the fact that they came to speak was really important. So,
And being new to this process, I think I echo what Rachel has said. Appreciate the digging that we asked of you to, and that you came back with something, squeezing the turnip, so to speak, but for the benefit of the teachers. That really made a big difference, and we really appreciate that. And I think hearing those stories, this is just, this is going to be our trajectory, hopefully, as we start to continue to revisit, knowing got the human factor involved, right? So thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did also appreciate hearing those stories, and I appreciate that we have them recorded, and definitely feel like, we squeezed our turnip, but I also feel like the stories that we have, and I know I had mentioned, I don't know how many months ago, going to Sacramento for the legislative day that the School Board Association has every year. And so that's a whole other turnip to be squeezing on.
Absolutely.
And so I really appreciate, so I think those stories and having them recorded, I don't know exactly how we can take those stories again and continue to amplify them when we go back. I'll be going back again, and we're all welcome to go too, but going back again next year and
Yes.
squeezing some other turnips. So I appreciate hearing them and know that they will continue to live on in other venues. Carry them forward. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anybody want to have the honor of?
Do it. I'll make a motion to approve this quite happily. I move that we approve the tentative agreement between the Ross Valley School Board and my computers went off. And the Ross Valley Teachers Association to resolve negotiations for the 22-23 school year.
I'll second it.
Awesome. And I will gladly call for a vote. Rachel.
Aye.
Daniel.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
And Shelley. Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to move on here. I'm just going to sit here for a second. Okay, but moving on. We have recommended approval of compensation and health and welfare adjustments for the 2022-23 school year for unrepresented staff, certificated management, and classified management.
All right, so this, as we met and conferred with our RVSD unrepresented certificated and classified management employees, I am recommending that the Board of Trustees approve for the 22-23 school year the total compensation package of 10.44%, and it does represent the same total percentage provided to the teachers, as well as being recommended for other unrepresented employees. And we included here another chart because the breakdown is a little bit different. There aren't the kinds of stipends or hourly rates or those kinds of things. So for the certificated and classified management, it's 9.54% on the salary schedule. And then the same increase to the advanced degree stipends as is provided to the teachers, and that's been historic in our district, the same. And that equates to a 0.36%, and then the same percentage increase for health and welfare benefits representing 0.54, so that total compensation package of 10.44. There is no collective bargaining agreement. If they're an unrepresented group, there isn't the same kind of language or terms or those kinds of things. So what we have here attached is the salary schedules and for certificated and classified management, as well as that same AB 1200 that Chris needed to submit to MCOE.
All right. Are there any clarification questions? Nope. Nope. I don't have any either. Okay.
So I motion to approve the compensation and health and welfare adjustments for the 22-23 school year for underrepresented staff, certified management, and classified management.
Second.
Motion and a second. And Daniel?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Shelley? Aye. Rachel?
Aye.
All right. Wonderful. And the second to last, recommended approval of salary and health and welfare adjustments for the 2022-23 school year for unrepresented classified confidential staff.
Of which we have two in our school district, in HR and superintendent's office, Teresa being here this evening. And so again, meeting and conferring with our classified confidential employees, recommending the same total compensation package. They don't have advanced degree stipends, so that's why you see a little bit more on their salary schedule. So the increase to the salary schedule is 9.9%. And again, that same increase to the health and welfare cap of 0.54 equals a 10.44 total compensation package amount. And as with the AB 1200, that is included in the one above for the certificated and classified management, but included in that same AB 1200. So for every employee, whether they're unrepresented or represented, we need to do the AB 1200. So Chris included them in that one, as we have historically done in our school district.
Okay. Any clarification questions? The only thing it's not really clarification, but that I do appreciate that while we do have unrepresented staff in these different categories, that we really do consider everyone together, and we're not, I appreciate that's the way that we done it in this district ever since I've known it, that it's seen as a whole and that everybody is working together in that way, so appreciate that.
I kind of noticed that in the fact that like we made sure the overall compensation for everybody was the 10.44. So it's not like, oh, hey, well, we're going to skip out on you because whatever. So I appreciate the same thing. Like we made sure everyone got the same overall total comp package.
Yep.
So, and then we can go.
Make motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the salary and health and welfare benefit or welfare adjustments for the 22-23 school year for the unrepresented classified confidential staff.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Rachel.
Aye.
And Daniel.
Aye.
And Chris.
Aye.
And Shelley. Aye. All right. And now we have a recommended approval of the district chief business official's salary and health and welfare adjustments for the 22-23 school year.
Right, and I think you know what I'm going to say, total compensation package of 10.44%, and this is specific to Chris Carson. So as Chris is part of the certificated and classified management, he happens to also be senior management, so he is not included within the same agenda item before. So it's always a separate item for our chief business official. And so for him, because there could be advanced degree stipends, this on the salary schedule amount is the same as for the certificated and classified management of 9.54%. And then the same 0.36 for advanced degree stipend, 0.54% for health and welfare cap increase, and again equating to 10.44%. And so with this, again, the AB 1200 was noted above in the certificated and classified management, and specifically listed here, which I forgot to say up above, but is the updated salary schedule and the specific amount that based on Chris's placement on the salary schedule, what his increase specifically is for the 22-23 school year. All right. Any clarification or questions? Nope. All right. Who would like to do the honors this time?
All right, well, I will make a motion to approve the district chief business official's salary and health and welfare adjustments for 2022-23.
Great.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion and a second. Chris?
Aye.
Daniel?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
And Shelley? Aye. All right. Thank you so much. So that concludes all of the presentation action items for this evening. Really appreciate it. I know just in speaking with the employees who are not here this evening, specifically thanking the board for consideration in doing the best that we could in our district for increasing our salary schedules. Every employee, as I've said over and over again, are critically important to what we do here for children. If it weren't for the children, none of us would be here. But all of our positions, none of them are important or we wouldn't have them. So to feel valued as an employee in the school district, one way to show that is to pay competitively. And as you had stated, as William pointed out this evening, that those weren't empty words. We are absolutely working on learning and understanding more, as an example related to a parcel tax increase. Is it better to go and have a separate one? Is it better to try to roll the two together? We have 5 more years on, is it 8 or 5? 5 more.
I think it's 5.
I think it's 5 more years on this current parcel tax. And so looking at the best way to potentially come back and have a conversation with you all early next school year. And as we all know, the district can't run a parcel tax campaign. We can't run it, so we'll need people to step up and volunteer. Employees can volunteer to help on non-paid time, but we can't do the campaign ourselves. So we will definitely need to outreach to have members of our community to do that on our behalf. And to continue to tell the message and the story, because it will take the voters to approve.
And I also appreciate that we are having this special meeting to do all the administration of all of this, and that you all both keep us on task with that and know all of the I's to dot and T's to cross to make sure we don't miss any deadlines and get things done, and then coordinate us to be able to come in on these special meetings, because I know that's, an additional element to all of this, and just knowing that you have all of those logistical and operational things to move this forward is also really helpful. So
Thank you for being available tonight for this special meeting.
We'll keep it,
Yeah.
we're keeping it an evergreen issue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not a one and done, just keep it,
Yeah, keep
keep
going.
us on task for this.
Absolutely.
all right,
Well, thank you.
thank you all. All right, we are on to the next item on our agenda is the consent actions, and we have 3 consent actions on the docket. And is there any reason anybody saw anything or any reason to address or pull any of those? Nope. Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for that. Consent.
I'll move consent.
Move consent. Second? Second. Chris is seconding.
Seconding?
And so motion is second. And Rachel.
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Daniel?
Aye.
Shelley? Aye. All right. Taking care of consent and on to board business. We have committee updates and reports from trustees and any trustee announcements to be made. Any
So we don't have that on the agenda tonight. We're moving back into continuation of closed session.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
For the
That's not
special
just for the
meeting, yeah.
special meeting. That's just our normal placeholder, but we don't have it tonight.
Correct.
Okay. I have a doodle, but all right. Sorry.
It's on the online agenda.
It is?
Is it on the line?
You have me added in.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. Sorry, I printed it before it was finalized. So go.
No
Keep
worries.
going.
Okay.
Carry on. Board business and committee updates. You want to go, Rachel?
I have
Go
a
for it.
lot, so if you want to go first, that's fine too.
Roll on out.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a busy few weeks for me. I went to Manor's open house, which was my first time going there, and I haven't spent as much time in Manor this year, so I was really excited to go. It was really neat. It was really intimate. Everybody was so super friendly, and the kids were really excited. But what struck me most about that school, since I've been to all of the open houses this year, was just how tight a community it is. It was so sweet. The kids at all different levels were all playing outside. They were just so excited, and they were, the kids were happy to show me, who was a perfect stranger, like the stuff that they were working on. So it was just a really cool place to go for open house. It was really well done. And I know how much work it is for the art teachers to do that, because there are so many art displays all over, and it was amazing. I went to the Yes Major Donor Thank You event at the Sleepy Hollow Pool Clubhouse, which was just another really fun event. They had former White Hill Jazz Band students playing. They had a current White Hill student singing. It was just well attended, it was good food, and it was just kind of fun to say hi to people and say thank you. But they had also put up several pieces of artwork all around the room from all the different students, so that was pretty neat. I went to the White Hill Musical Theater production, which was, I had no idea what to expect. The students wrote their own musical. They directed it, did the choreography, they did the props. They just basically did the whole thing and ran with it. And it was so fun to watch. They were so into it, and it was sweet, and it was just a lot of fun. I went to the DLAC meeting. They had representatives from the TAM Unified School District there, from the adult school. So they were just giving us a little update about some of the opportunities that they're offering for free. DLAC, for the newer people, it's the District English Language Advisory Committee, so they kind of work on helping non-English speaking families and their students and kind of integrating them into the community and making sure that they're being included and have the information that they need. The public libraries and Fairfax Library in particular is offering ESL classes, and those are all free opportunities. And so their website has a tab where it's just education, and there's a whole section on a lot of free education that's open to people who are learning. Some of them are online. They have classes on home care aid basics. So if you're looking to get a job doing that, they have courses, but they also have options to get a certificate, and then it can translate. There's a job fair at the end, so it kind of helps them ease into positions. And let's see. I attended the Yes Board meeting. So the art update was really cool. The elementary kids have been working on sculpture units, modeling clay, ceramics. They did identity, portrait, family self-portrait sorts of things. And so those were really, I saw those at open houses, and those were really fun to look at. Manor Open House on Wednesday, they had done a whole bunch of ceramics for that. So there were just tables and tables and tables of really fun things like food or other like people and monsters and owls and very cool things. And then sixth graders are working on mola paper cuttings, which is a folk art inspired from Panama. There's fiber arts projects, and so you saw some of them at open house where people had, like the kids had sewn really cool objects together and animals and stuffed animals. And then at Whitehill, they also, the digital art class, one of their projects was safe routes to school posters, and so those are all over. You'll see some of those, and those were done by our students. And then for music, they just completed their big concert for the end of April and May, and that was the 5th and 6th graders. But they also found that they had a lot of feedback about how successful the programs were, and that the kids are excited about going to Whitehill in 5th grade right now. So they're really excited about that. They just had their field trip to Great America for Music in the Parks, which was a lot of fun. I went and took my kid, and we went and just watched as observers, so I didn't have to deal with the chaperoning, which is a lot more fun because I got to see all the different groups competing and then left and went roller coasters. But they were competing in Milpitas, and it was pouring rain when we got there, and it was pouring rain off and on, but the kids didn't care because it meant that the park was empty, so everyone got to ride on a bunch of stuff. But all our groups did really well. They all got either first or second place. We had 2 of our students who got special call-outs as the best of the entire competition for soloing in music. So our jazz band soloist and one of our choir students both got the awards for that out of the entire competition, all the schools. So that was a lot of fun. And there were some students who were in 7th grade who were doing band who hadn't signed up to do it next year for 8th grade, but after having so much fun performing and the band and whatever, they are asking to switch back and keep for band next year. So that was kind of nice for them. And let's see. Oh yeah, and definitely want to say thank you to the teachers and to Principal Baker because they were there the whole day. It was a long day, and I left early. So it was, and all the parents. It's a long day. It's a lot of fun, but it's a long day. So I wanted to say thank you to them. And let's see, the 2nd grade, 4th grade, and 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for the music classes at elementary level are all doing music demos. I think those were all this week or finishing up this week. So it's something they hadn't done before since COVID had hit. But it's nice to bring in the family so they can see what these children are learning in the classrooms, and it's really good for building up the music program. They definitely felt the effects in it when they didn't have that option, and it kind of filtered but it's building back, so that's nice. There is a big concert tomorrow night for the advanced music groups at Whitehill. And if you haven't been to any of their concerts, that's a really good one to go to because they've been working so hard and they just finished competing, so they're on their top game. So if you want to go see it, they're tomorrow night, I think at 6:30. And let's see, as far as they just wrapped up their participation campaign. They are overall down in terms of money, but the participation rate actually increased over last year slightly. So they're happy about that. They're at 53% as of the meeting that I went to. Versus 51% this time last year. So they're happy about that. But they said the tech layoffs are kind of having an impact on donations and people worrying about a recession. They said they did much better in business partners and events, and they're trying to diversify income streams and revenue so it's not just leaning so heavily on our family participation.
Rachel, I have a question about that. Does Yes offer corporate matching?
Yes.
They do?
They do, and there's a widget on their pay.
There is, okay.
Yeah, so it's
including
great.
stocks, you can donate your stock as well.
Yeah, we give through our donor fund, but I just was wondering about.
Yes. And then they did a call night where they called up families who haven't donated yet. And it was not a pushy thing. It was more like, hey, we noticed you haven't donated, and we were just calling. It was a very friendly, very not in your face sort of call campaign. And they said it was a really big success. The people that they spoke to received it with the intent that it was, given out there kind of like, hey, we're just trying to help our schools and our kids. And they said that a lot of people had just realized they hadn't donated. They thought they'd already done it. And so that actually ended up with a lot of money coming in that night. So let's see, they are planning for next year. They are planning to do a video for YES, trying to educate people the difference between YES and the school parent groups. And they're just kind of trying to build back after COVID and kind of get the fundraising back up there again. And I think that was everything.
I'll just segue off of the YES, the fundraising with the YES, and the help me with the name of the subcommittee, the subcommittee with the roundtable subcommittee, because they're working together, and so that's where they've agreed to do kind of coordinated giving campaigns with that idea of messaging, so that everybody understands that they're working together, and here's what you donate to YES, and here's what YES funds, and then here's what you donate to the parent club, and here's what everything that the parent club, and they're continuing to move in a direction where it's kind of like, here's everything that the parent club funds, and here's the total of what that costs, as opposed to like $10 and then $30 and then $60 and that kind of stuff. So a more not just unified among the parent club, but then also unified with YES, which is awesome to see that effort going forward.
And the trickle down from that being at Brookside, that single platform has been articulated to the parents who are part of the parent club, that is the process going forward.
Great.
So it has come down to the actual parent clubs that were going in that direction.
Great.
So, yeah.
Good to hear. That was the next step.
That was the goal.
That's awesome. It's happening. It's happening.
Excellent.
You know, there was always change is always hard, and so there was a little bit of like if we put it all out there all at once, is this going to be a big change and overwhelming? And they were willing to kind of say, well, it might be in a transition mode.
Yeah, it's
but
just like renting a place in Tahoe, one and done. Just pay the right?
Exactly. I was like, I think people are going to actually appreciate it, because
I think so too.
So that's great to hear. Quick question for the music program.
Yes.
Has anybody ever talked about having drumline as one of the music things?
I don't know.
No.
You'd have to ask.
I saw my niece down in Southern California in junior high. They have a drumline in their junior high. It was really cool. I was like, oh. Nothing we need more.
Like a marching band, kind of? Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
it is.
Okay, 'cause
It's
I know
just
I marched.
it was just like 12 kids with lots of different kinds of drum, and
Okay.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't think that's,
But I've
we
never seen
don't
it.
know about that up here.
Yeah,
It is in the Central Valley where I grew up.
Central. I think it's Central and Southern. But yeah, it was very
It's
cool.
not in Marin. I thought where you're going with drums for a second was like Davidson has their steel pans. So I thought you literally were going to go into the drum area.
Oh, the drum. Oh, no. Yeah, that'd be, anyhow, but they never done that. And then I also did the JLAC, which is the Legislative Day, and they just ran through all of this was pre-governor's budget, so they went through everything that was moving through the initial rounds with the governor's budget, and all of those things and the adjustments to them at the time. And now there's a lot of information and stuff about the current governor's budget. May revise. So lots of information on that. And I also pay attention, I don't know if you guys do, I read the PPIC, Public Policy Institute of California. If you ever want really good education, budget-oriented public policy stuff, they've got a lot of really good, and they come out PPIC, Public Policy Institute of California. And they come out with I'm astounded how regular and quick they come out with information. So if you're ever looking for quick info they just had one that came out on.
Do you go to a website to view that, or do they do email newsletters?
I signed up and I get emails, and I actually have to say it's one of the emails that I find you get lots of email lists that you're on, but it's they give you a really good excerpt in the email of just one, like 3 sentences, and then click here to read more, so you can kind of, as you're scanning through your emails, go, oh, I'm going to read that, or start for later, or get rid of it because I'm not interested in it, kind of thing. They recently came out on one, they've been doing a series on declining enrollment, and so I think they've done 2 or 3 on that statewide. The last one was on kindergarten enrollment. They've done stuff on the budget, kind of general stuff on the budget, and so that's an update on that. Just a resource to share if you're looking.
Thank you.
I think those are the kind of updates that I have. Is there anything else? I don't think so. Anything else over on this side of the table? Nope.
We've got the field day coming up at Brookside on Friday and meet the new principal, so that's exciting. So a lot of the parents may show up early, and some of the teachers will be out there. So that'll be a good time.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's right. New principal.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
And then the kindergarteners yesterday did a kids cafe. All of the kids invited guardians or grown-ups in their lives, and they made menus. Each kid made individual menus, and they served pancakes and coffee or tea. And the kids were over the moon. They were just so happy to see the parents there, the guardians, and any adults in their lives there. And serving them, and like, what would you like today? Here's the menu, and they did their own artwork and their own creative spelling. Yeah, it was great. And the 5th graders helped out, pouring the tea and the coffee. So I like seeing that at Brookside, and maybe it's at the same at all. The mixed age groups helping each other and learning from each other. It's really nice to see, and yeah, it's a good way of building community.
Yeah.
And on the Brookside note, the 4th graders are heading into Gold Country.
Oh, that's right. We're done with COVID. Back to
We are back to Gold Country, so they're very excited. And they're leaving Thursday for overnight,
Oh, wow.
coming back Friday. And have some excited 9 and 10-year-olds.
yeah.
Have an excuse not to take another bath that night.
Cool. All right. Anything else before we move on? Don't want to shortchange anyone? Nope. So we've got regular meeting minutes for May 3rd as our next item. Any edits to that? No? Is that the one I wasn't here for? Is that the budget? No. I think I was here.
You were
Sorry.
here.
You were here. Yeah. I was here. Sorry. Okay. No edits, amendments, or changes?
I move we approve the regular meeting minutes for May 3rd, 2023.
Motion
Second it.
and a second. Rachel?
Aye.
Daniel?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Shelley? Aye. All right. And now, because we did not finish everything on our closed session, we will recess at 7:54 back into closed session. All right. It is 9:27, and we are ending the continuation of our closed session and reconvening back into open session for the Ross Valley School District Board of Trustees special meeting Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. There is nothing to report out from the continuation of our closed session. So with that, at 9:28, I will adjourn our meeting.